Now, you know we have a big oil problem when the owner of Tesla, Elon Musk himself, goes on Twitter and says, hate to say it, but we need to increase oil and gas output immediately. Extraordinary times demands extraordinary measures. Obviously, this would negatively affect Tesla, but sustainable energy solutions simply cannot react instantaneously to make up for Russian oil and gas exports. What's up, everybody? This is Positive Finances. For those of you that don't know me, I am Jose, and in this channel we talk about everything and anything that affects you and your money. In this video, I'll be talking about what is going on with the current oil crisis, and I'll also be talking about a great oil stock you could potentially invest in during uncertain times like this. If you want to skip ahead, I added timestamps below. All right, so real quick, in this video, I'm going to talk about one of my oil stocks, right? If you are interested in some of the oil stocks that I'm also invested, I had already made another video that I talk about the 3 oil stocks I'm currently invested in. I will leave a link in the description below. You feel free to go ahead and check it out for more information on that. Okay, so here's what's going on right now. Russia attacked Ukraine. Oil prices around the world are rising fast. The 2 political parties here in the US want to find ways to help with the gas prices. President Biden has said no for drilling for more oil in the US. Some political leaders want to transition to clean energy, but we are still a long way from being able to fully rely on clean energy. According to many economists, energy prices are also a huge significant factor in recent rampant inflations that have been hitting the markets. So recently, the U.S. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh said during a media appearance that he and his team are exploring all options to ease oil prices without compromising the president's directive to avoid drilling here in the U.S. He also said he couldn't speak for the president, but he was able to say that they are looking at all avenues when it comes to looking for ways to help with the current energy problems in the U.S. Television host Stuart Varney recently asked the Labor Secretary if President Biden had any plans to increase oil drilling here in the U.S. Varney had also expressed to the Labor Secretary that we currently have an energy shortfall and our only option now would be to drill for more of our own oil and natural gas. The Labor Secretary Walsh said they are certainly looking at what's happening in the world right now. He also said domestic drilling is not an option right now, but eventually that will have to be a conversation to have. This all continues to grow as legislators from both political parties began demanding energy reforms. The Democrats want to cut off and stop buying Russian oil, but this could lead to a big spike in domestic prices to make it work. It will require some sort of corrective action in our end. The Republicans, on the other hand, want to increase domestic drilling to help increase the domestic supply, but either way we look at it, one thing is for certain is that something needs to be done. Top Democratic legislators Joe Manchin and Nancy Pelosi have pitched the idea to President Biden to stop buying and ban Russian energy imports altogether. But Labor Secretary Walsh said if we did something like banning Russian energy, we'd have to figure a way to fill that gap. One of the options he pitched as a potential gap filler will be to transition to clean green energy initiatives. Okay, so what does all this mean for us? At the moment, many of us are all standing by and watching to see what Russia's next move is and what the world's reaction is going to be towards Russia. But while we wait to see what our leaders decide to do, there's an opportunity that we investors have that we can benefit from. One thing that is for sure is that oil stocks have reached a new 52-week all-time high this past Friday, March 4th, while other commodities like crops, metals, and gas have also surged on the impact of recent events and uncertainty. I have personally been investing into oil stocks for a while, and I have been able to get over an amazing 500% gains in one of my investments. Okay, so I want to show you one of my oil stocks I'm currently invested in. So let's jump into the Robinhood app to show you And if you don't have Robinhood and are interested in it, I will have a link in the description box below. If you use my link, both you and I will be able to get one free stock each that can be valued anywhere between $300 to $500. This does not cost you anything. It just helps us both on getting free stocks. I have also been using Webull and M1 Finance, and if you are interested in one of those, then you could also find the links in the description box below. So check it out in the description box below. All right, so here we are in the Robinhood app. I want to go ahead and show you the one oil stock that is hands down my favorite. You know, if you are looking for something to possibly invest in, then check it out. And if this looks like something that you might be interested in, then so far it's been performing great for me. And I foresee that it's going to be doing pretty well here in the near future. All right, so for today's performance, it closed out at $193. For the week, it has gone up 25%. For the month's performance, it has gone up 61%. For the past 3 months, it has gone up 142%. In the past year, it has done 213%. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and look at the 5-year performance. And in the 5-year performance, you're probably looking at it and you're like,
oh my gosh, there's no way I'm investing in this. What are you recommending? There's no way. There's too much loss going on here.
I want to say, look, don't worry. Set your emotions to the side. Don't look at necessarily the red. Look at what is the potential that we will be gaining here from the future. So this stock, before COVID, it was averaging around the 400 range. It was, plus or minus within that range. When COVID hit, yes, it dropped down to 16, but that's when everything stopped moving. So there was no oil consumption basically going on of any kind. The barrel of the oil went into basically the negative mark, but that's not where we're at right now. All right, so one thing to look at though is that after COVID had hit, it has been steadily climbing up. The more people have been traveling, the more cruise ships have been moving, the more airplanes have been moving, the more demand has been going out for oil. This fund right here has steadily and surely been going up nice and smooth all up until this point right here, February 18th, which was shortly after that is when we've had our spike. So around this time period from here on forward is when we've had our spike, and that is when Russia attacked Ukraine. Bad news was happening. As we know, Russia is one of the top suppliers when it comes to oil. And now that sanctions are happening and a lot of uncertainty is happening, the barrel has been just skyrocketing within the past 2 weeks. So the price of the barrel has been at an all-time high at the moment. And currently, as we look at this little chart on here, we are currently at $197 a share. As we mentioned earlier, this was hovering around $400 a share right before COVID hit. It is possible that it could reach that level again, go back to where it used to be, which was around that $400 a share for this particular fund. I personally do not think it's going to make it into the 400s. I could be wrong. Don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the market right now. Personally, what I think for sure that will happen is that this will reach a 300 before everything is over. So I have a feeling it's going to fall within this range in here. That's going to be able to hit a good 300. So if currently right now we're close to $200 a share, I do have a feeling it's going to reach around the 300. And that's when, personally, to me, I plan to continue holding this stock until we reach around the 300 range. And then once we get to around that range is when I start planning to sell off a little by little. You just go from there. But, it's something that I'll have to keep an eye out on what's going on in the news, because as long as everything is currently going on the way it is right now with Russia and Ukraine, as long as Russia remains in Ukraine, I have a strong feeling this stock is just going to continue going up because of a lot of uncertainty that's going on right now. All right, so let me show you guys how this stock has been doing for me so far. Right now, my positions, I currently have 393 shares. I was able to get in on it when it was $32 a share. The full market value of it is $77,000. All right, I invested somewhere around $12,000, and right now I have total gains of $65,000 for a whopping 515% gains. Now, this has been performing outstanding for me. I've been investing into this for a little over a year and a half now. I've been keeping track of it, close track of seeing what's going on in the news when it comes to oils, and so far it's been doing outstanding. I do believe it's going to continue growing, as I mentioned earlier. So as I mentioned earlier, I plan to continue holding this, and once it reaches that around that 300 price range is when I'm going to start looking at selling some of the profits. But on its current trajectory and the way things are going, I do have a pretty good feeling that it could reach that way. And now it's not 100% guaranteed, but I will be keeping an eye out on a daily basis to make sure that I lock in my profits based on which direction the market starts going. All right, so let's go down here and let's talk about what is UCO. So as you can see here on your screen, is that UCO provides a 2x daily return of an index of futures contracts of WTI crude. The listed name for UCO is ProShares Ultra Bloomberg Crude Oil. We see that it has a number of holdings of 17. It's been around since 2008, and it is considered a trading leverage commodities. And if you don't know what leverage is, as you see here in the Robinhood, on the upper left-hand side, there is a yellow bubble, black letter says leverage. And in here, it'll give you an explanation of what leverage is. All right, so here we'll just look at here at for example, here's the center part. You have the 2x and the 3x. So it shows you how it would look like. On the left-hand side is a regular fund. On the right-hand side would be a leverage fund. And then a brief explanation here is how do they work? If a leverage fund rises by 1% in a day, then a 2x, which is UCO, leverage fund tracks the same assets may rise by 2%. See how the day's gain would be twice as large, but it can go the other way too. If a regular fund falls by 1% in a day, a 3x leverage fund tracking the same asset may fall by 3%. The day's losses would be 3 times as big. All right, so I want you to keep in mind that leverage funds are normally considered short-term funds. They're not something that you invest in long term like you would S&P 500, for example. The S&P 500, you can hold it for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, but leverage funds are made for some people that want to do a daily trade and take advantage of an upside, make some money, or hold it for a shorter time period, which is what I have done. I've held it for a year and a half. I plan to hold, my predictions was maybe maximum of total 3 years was what I was originally planning to hold it, because I wanted to be able to ride it on up to possibly to that $300 mark, which I'm currently already at the $200 mark. So that is my short-term plan for this, because again, leverage funds are normally made for short-term investments. So I want you to keep that in mind. It is something that you could make money with and go ahead and just sell it once it reaches the target that you are already shooting for. So let me know your thoughts on all of this. How do you think this will all play out? And let me know what stocks you plan to take advantage of that you think could potentially have great returns this year. If you like this video and you want to see more, do me a favor and give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell to be notified every time I release a new video. And remember, always stay positive. Together, we can do this.